bienvenidos to my channel. Yo me llamo Kelly and this is Adventures in Spanish. And in today's video, you're going to learn one of the secrets that will help you communicate with much more confidence in Español. ¿Listo? Vamos! Okay, so if you're fairly new to Español, to learning Español, you'll probably already have started learning some phrases, maybe, or the odd word. For example, things like hola, adiós, ¿qué tal, cómo estás? Yeah, those are the kind of phrases and words that you will probably have started to learn so far. And that's great, but you need that confidence to be able to actually speak those words when the time comes. And the best way to build that confidence, apart from obviously practicing, is to have confidence knowing how they should sound when they come out of your mouth. And the way to do that is to learn the letters and sounds of the Spanish alphabet. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh gosh, Kelly, I've got to learn the alphabet. Well, basically, yeah, you do. Because the great thing about Español is that the words are pronounced phonetically as each letter sounds. So once you confidently know how each letter should sound, you can put them all together to form the words. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the letters and sounds of the Spanish alphabet and give you some words to practice. So you're probably going to need a piece of paper and a pen. Piece of paper and a pen, and you might need to pause this video as we go through, because I'm just going to take you straight through the letters and the letters of the alphabet, and I'm going to give you some examples as we go along. Here you'll see the letters come up with the words as we go through them. So yeah, so if you're ready, we can just, I suppose, just get going. Yeah. All right then. So the first letter is of course the letter A, and it's pronounced A, as in ambulancia, ambulancia. The next letter is the B, and in Español se dice B, B. And there's a rule around the B because the B, the sound of the B in Español, the B, is very similar to the V when we get to the V. So to distinguish between the two, I'd like you to put in your notes that the B is also known as a B alta. A B alta. And the word we might have for that would be bote. Yeah, a boat. Bote. The next letter is the letter C. And depending on whether you're learning Spanish from mainland Spain or from Central and South America, you're either going to pronounce it as a C or a se. For me, it's a se. And the word is coche. And you might be thinking, if the letter is a se, why do we pronounce the word coche with a k? And there's a rule around this. So the C before an A, a U and an O is like a hard C. So for example, coche, cucaracha, carnaval, it's like a hard C. C? And then before an I and an E, it's a softer C, like a S. So for example, cielo. Cielo. So like cielo and cero, so it's a softer C. Bien. The D is a D, and to pronounce the letter D, you put your tongue to the top of your mouth behind your teeth. It's just a D. D. And dedo. Dedo is a finger. The next letter is the letter E. In Español se pronuncia E. So like the letter A in English, the E is pronounced E. Elefante. The F is an F. F, as in fuego. Fuego. The G, again, there's a special rule around the G. I'll come to that in a minute, but to pronounce the letter is a G. G. And there's a couple of rules around it. So the G before an A, an O or a U is kind of like, it's a harder G, it's like a G, similar to the rules around the C. So it's a G. So for example, gato, yeah, cat, gato. But when it's before an E or an I, it's a softer G. So general, general, girasol. Bien. The next letter is the letter H. So if you're familiar with the word hola, which I'm sure you are in Espanol, it means hello. At the beginning of that word, there's an H, but we never pronounce the H when it's at the beginning of a word in Espanol. It's always silent. So the letter H is an H, but we never pronounce it. So for example, hola or hielo. Bien. Never pronounce the H at the beginning of a word. The next letter is the letter I. And in Espanol se pronuncia I. I. So the letter I in Spanish is pronounced the same as the English E. So to avoid any confusion, we call it an I latina. An I latina. The word could be an imán. An imán. The next letter is the letter J. And se pronuncia J. This is the one where you kind of get the back of your throat involved. So J. J. And the word could be jarra. Maybe you're familiar with asking for una jarra de cerveza. A jar of beer, yeah? A mug, a jug even, of beer, yeah? Una jarra. The next letter is the K. K. Now, there are no words in the Spanish dictionary that are originally Spanish that begin with the letter K. So the words that you'll find are all foreign. For example, the word koala. Koala. And if you don't believe me, go and check the dictionary. The next letter is the letter L. 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 As in libellula. Libellula. I love that word, dragonfly. So the next letter is a letter in its own right in the Spanish alphabet, and it's the double L sound. So words that have the double L in them are Spanish, and it's pronounced ella. Ella. As in ella or calle. Se pronuncia ella. Unless you're from Buenos Aires. If you're from Buenos Aires in Argentina, you pronounce the double L ella. So instead of saying ella or calle, you'll hear people say ella or calle. It's a very obvious way to recognise that somebody is from Buenos Aires. The next letter is the M. Nice and easy. M. Marciano. Marciano. Next we have the N. N. Niña or niño. And the next letter is a letter in its own right again. This time it's still the N, but it has a squiggle on the top. And it's not just an N with a squiggle on the top, it is a letter in its own right, and it's pronounced ñ. Ñ. So the word that I used for the normal N was niña, but it did have the ñ in it as well, yeah? So niña. Español. The next letter is the O, and it se pronuncia O. O. It's like a shorter sound of the English O. The O is an O, but in Español se dice O. It's like a shorter sound, O. As in oveja. Oveja. Tenemos muchas ovejas aquí en Gales. The next letter is the letter P. Se pronuncia P. P. Planta. Planta. The Q is a Q, Q, as in queso, queso. Notice I'm not saying queso. The U after a Q is always silent, after a U, after a G rather also. So it's queso, never queso. The next letter is the letter R, the R, R rather, R. Roca, ora, roca, ora. And then we have the double R. This is the one that causes most people the most trouble, no? The double R. So it's the thrilled one R. So it's the R. R. And I've done a video, a whole lesson on how to practice and improve rolling your R. I'll see if I can share the link to that video somewhere around here. So for now, it's arroz, arroz, and it's the r. You put your mouth at the top of your tongue at the top of your mouth, just behind your teeth, and kind of blow, yeah. So r, r. If you can't do it, don't worry, stick with it. It took me years to be able to roll my R. Okay, it's just practice, practice, practice. And don't be shy, have a go. And, just, I don't know, make it fun. Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. The next letter is a letter S, and it's an ese, ese, a saltamontes, saltamontes. The next letter is the T, the te. Similar to how you pronounce the D, yeah, it's te. Rather than the tongue being at the back of your teeth, it's kind of in the middle of your mouth. So te, the tigre, tigre. The next letter is la letra U, U, as in uvas, uvas. Then we have the V. Different ways of pronouncing this, or different ways that we call this letter V. In America Latina se dice V, V, which is why it's very similar to the sound of the B, right? The V can also be pronounced a bay. So if you just close your eyes for 1 minute, B, V, B, V, B, V. So we call the B alta, and the V corta, the short V. Bien. B alta, V corta. I have friends that call the B. So if you need to spell something, you need to know that the B is the B alta, and the V is the V corta. And the word could be video, video. And just as a side note, the other the other name, I suppose, for this letter is the uve, uve. Bien. Then we have the W. So if the V is a V, the W is a doble V. It's not rocket science, right? Doble V. And much the same as the K in Espanol, the doble V doesn't have any original Spanish words either. So the word windsurf would be pronounced windsurf. Yeah, windsurf. Check the dictionary if you don't believe me. So the other way of, the other name for the W, if you're calling the V an uve, the W is a uve doble. Uve doble. Whereas for me, the V is a V corta and the W is a doble V. It's much more simple. The X is an X, X, xilófono, xilófono. And the Y is a tricky one. So the Y is called an Y or an E. Y. Bien. But the sound of the letter inner word is very different. So, por ejemplo, yema. Yeah? Yema. The word yema is the yolk of an egg. Yema. However, the letter Y on its own in a sentence is also a word. It's pronounced I and it means and. And finally, we have the Z. Again, similar to the C, Spanish from mainland Spain will pronounce the Z a theta. Central and South America, we pronounce it zeta. Zeta. Zorro. Zorro. Bien. There we go. Those are the letters and sounds of the Spanish alphabet. Have a go at pronouncing your name. Your nombre, your first name. Mine would be Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y. And if you're feeling like you want to challenge yourself, pronounce your surname too. Mine would be T-H-O-R-N-H-I-L-L. And notice that although I've got double L's in my name, I'm not pronouncing them as the eye or the eye because they're not Spanish. It's an L and an L. I could have also said doble L, but I said L. Okay, there we go. The letters and sounds of the Spanish alphabet. Have a practice and I'd love to hear how you're getting on, how you're progressing with your español. Hasta la próxima. Adiós.